My fiancé out of the blue told me I need to financially step up my game and that we're splitting everything 50-50 from now on, and if I don't like it, I can leave. So I showed him what life would be like if I truly contributed 50%, and now he's unhappy with it. My 26F fiancé, 26M, sat me down yesterday and gave me a long talk about how he feels like I don't contribute enough to the household, particularly in the financial sense. I was a bit caught off guard by this but was willing to hear him out since he wasn't wrong. He makes a lot more than I do, and we've always split bills accordingly, which ends up being about 80% him. I asked what he wanted me to pay now, and he was adamant about it being 50-50. I asked if everything was okay with his job or if he needed to take fewer hours, and he wouldn't answer me. I honestly wouldn't have gotten upset if there seemed to be an actual reason behind it, but he just said he'd been thinking about it a lot, over and over, every time I asked what brought him to this conclusion, what was going on, and eventually, he just said, "This is how it's going to be, take it or leave it." Those exact words, in response to literally everything I said. Full shutdown. No explanations. I told him that was fine, I'll take it, and then asked if he'd made a Zillow account yet or expected me to. He looked confused and asked why we would need a Zillow account. I explained that there's no way I can afford half the rent on our current place, so we'll probably have to move into a one-bedroom apartment. He got mad and asked why I didn't have savings. I told him that I do, but I'm not paying rent out of my savings because that's a terrible and unsustainable idea. I also began to go over what our new food budget would be, our new entertainment budget, and that we'd probably have to sell the cars and get one less expensive one because I can't afford half of the payments on an Audi and a Land Rover. Then I explained that date nights would probably have to be reduced to, and we could still do something like Buffalo Wild Wings, but I preferred Thursday nights because you get 2 orders of boneless wings for one. Basically, if he wants me to pay half, we're living within my means, not his anymore. He kind of agreed to it, but since then, he's been incredibly angry. He's not saying or doing anything, but it's like he's walking around the house in this cloud of pissed off. I sent him 6 Zillow listings, all of which he's called uninhabitable for various reasons, some of which I think were valid, others I disagree with. He's now saying that I'm being unfair and manipulative, and that he tried to come to me with a serious concern about our relationship, and I'm making it impossible for him to talk to me, and bulldozing over him. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Can I ask what your salary and his salary are? Like general numbers? A charitable take on his actions could be that he resents not having more money and is trying to inspire you to try to up your salary or change into a more lucrative promotion/career so you can both be living the high life. He might be imagining how great it would be to have 200% of his income instead of 120%. If that's the case, he's still going about it in a crap and douchey way. Personally, I agree with many other comments. Someone has insinuated that you're a gold digger, and he was expecting you to break up with him, not problem solve. Ops response. I make around $35,000 a year. He makes around $120,000 a year. It's not like there's some magical be rich suddenly button I can press. I'm a preschool teacher, and I don't have a college degree, and I certainly can't afford a college degree at this point without asking for help or taking out insane loans. Commenter 2. To me, it sounds like something happened with his job and he's not able to tell you yet, for whatever reason. I would try to have another calm chat about it with him, also showing him how much you'd be able to afford long term. Don't move forward with your plans of getting married until you both agree on your finances. Ops response. I asked about the job, and he wouldn't give me a straight answer. The frustrating part is that I honestly do not mind downsizing, and if I found out tomorrow he lost a job, I'd literally be fine selling what we have and living in a trailer together off just my income, but this feels like some weird power play instead. Downvoted commenter 3. If you can barely afford your basic living expenses, why the hell are you driving an Audi or Range? This is a classic example of lifestyle creep. If you barely make enough to contribute to rent, driving a luxury car is shameful. You're not the jerk, you're just a spoiled and unrealistic person. Ops response. He gave me the Audi as a birthday present. It was not something I was aware of until it was in the driveway with a big pink bow and confetti. Literally like a car commercial. He's always had a bit of a flair for the dramatic. Commenter 4. What podcasts does he listen to? Ops response. I don't know in detail. Joe Rogan, I'm pretty sure, and Cometown, and I think a guy called Sam Hyde. They're apparently funny. I don't super get that kind of humor. Update 5 days later. Hi everyone. This got way bigger than intended, so I figured a follow-up was owed. So, last time I posted was Monday. Monday as a whole was spent just sorting through what I felt and what to do next. There was a lot of silence, a lot of anger, and a lot of Reddit advice, some of which I found very insightful, some of which was less so. Also, some people think I made this up as part of a viral marketing sponsorship between Buffalo Wild Wings, Audi, and Zillow, which honestly would solve the money problems if true, but alas, is not the case. On Tuesday, after I got home from work, I sort of just walked up to him on the elliptical and explained as calmly as I could that I had questions, and if he actually wanted to marry me, he needed to be willing to answer them. I asked if he thought I was a gold digger, yes or no. He said yes. I told him that I wasn't willing to be in a relationship where I have to prove myself by sacrificing any sort of stability, and that led to a bit of a screaming match and, eventually, a confession. So it turns out we cannot afford anything we have right now. We are in serious credit card debt, the cars are both on the verge of being repossessed, and I did not know about any of this. He's been cutting corners on actual necessities, including psychiatric medication. That, in combination with some comments from his family, led him to some pretty dark places. My fiancé had a full breakdown and apologized for calling me a gold digger, which was nice to hear, but this whole thing had me pretty shaken up. I went to stay with a friend for a little bit. Yesterday, my fiancé and I did in fact go out to BWW and get the 2-for-1 boneless. We talked a lot. I'm still writing fiancé for now, and I really hope we can work through all of this. We talked about how to sell the cars, we don't particularly have a choice at this point, and about my income, his income, and the kind of life we want to have. If we do stay together, we'll be changing how we live a lot. We need to get out of debt, we need to get on our feet. I know some people are gonna say I'm being dumb for not immediately dropping all contact and giving up on the relationship, but I can't do that. I can't look at the guy I love, who went off his meds to try and make a good life for me, and think he's not worth sticking around for, at least to try. I don't know what the future looks like at all anymore though, and the wedding is very postponed at the moment. Sorry this wasn't a more fun update. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Has he come clean to you about what got you guys so deep in the hole? For it to get to the brink, it did lift more red flags in the air. He could be coping with an addiction problem or something else that could destroy your life. You have got to figure this out ASAP. Please don't make any wedding plans, this is not the man you wanted to marry. Op's response. He has. It's not gambling or drugs, like a lot of people are saying. It's an addiction to nice things. He's got a lot of financial hang-ups and comes from a family that replaced love with money, so he got it in his head that the only way to show love was to provide a very fancy sort of lifestyle, which was way over budget for us. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow, cutting back on everything, but it's what has to happen. Additional info from Op. I didn't write everything out in this post, but we did go over how the debt got this bad, and I'm currently aware of pretty much everything. There are some accounts I still need to look at this weekend, but for the most part, it's all above board at this point. We're definitely looking at the relationship, and I'm going to be taking a much more active role in life planning if we do continue. The wedding is on pause for an unknown amount of time. I'm already looking into places I can afford and will probably end up renting a trailer. And no, I'm not lying for him. I told him point blank that hiding this stuff is what got us into this mess, and he's not going to be able to keep it under wraps if he wants to stay with me. We need to be upfront about our financial situation, whether he's embarrassed or not. I think that with some hard work, we'll both end up in a better position. We need to get out of debt, and I'm taking the reins for a bit since he's never lived frugally before, but if all goes well, we'll get through this. I don't plan to leave if he sticks to what we're talking about and actually takes steps forward. I love this man, and I'll fight for what we have. If he won't fix things, won't listen, and continues to disrespect me, I'm gone, but I genuinely believe we will get through this. I know he can do better, and I believe he wants to. Now he has to prove it. Commenter 2. Don't gloss over the comments from family. If you marry him, you're marrying them too. If they're generally toxic to his mental health, you need to talk about whether no contact is necessary. If not, he has some serious repair work to do to fix the impression they have of you. Or has to take on the job of shielding you from their BS. Op's response. His family don't like me for a number of reasons. They don't like that I don't have a college degree, they don't like that I grew up low income or went to public school, and they don't approve at all of the fact that I'm religious. His mother in particular has called me a hick, a redneck, and several other things I won't put down here. Up until this point, though, he's been pretty good about defending me. Mini update same day. Op made a post listing the good things about her fiancé. 1. Pretty as heck. This is the most physically attractive man I have ever met. Literal golden curls like a Da Vinci painting, crystal blue eyes, just so pretty it gives me butterflies whenever he looks at me sometimes. 2. Best I've ever had in bed. Very good at just about anything, actually likes going down on me, and makes me see stars. I have never been in a relationship that was as sexually satisfying as this one, and there's no way I'm going back after this. 3. His voice is very hot. Especially when he speaks Russian. He also speaks French, Spanish, and apparently Latin? But Russian is my favorite. 4. Got a vasectomy so I could go off birth control. He was the one to suggest it because he saw how much I hated those stupid pills, and he was willing to get an actual surgery for me. 5. Full of little surprises and adventures. He's always doing things like getting me wildflowers, making my favorite breakfast before I wake up, or even planning little day adventures for us to go on together. Life is never mundane because he's always making it special. 6. Actually does housework. Does not need to be asked to do housework. He actually does more of the cleaning than I do, and I cook most of the meals because he thinks that sweeping and mopping floors is meditative. I do not know how I got this lucky on this one. 7. Plays guitar. Really, really well. It's very attractive. 8. Can physically pick me up and carry me around and does this often. I am not a small woman, to be clear. This is legitimately impressive and makes me feel so nice. 9. Reads. I can actually talk about books. With him. You have no idea how rare this is, especially to find a guy who'll read anything I say. Oh, I like this. You do not comprehend the feeling of mentioning offhandedly that you're reading Midnight Sun and having him come to you the next day after spending all night reading so that you could talk about it together until you live it. 10. Has shown me that there is actual romance in life and that I deserve more than a flat, boring relationship devoid of intimacy or dancing in the rain or music. He brought real passion and fun and aliveness into my life, and in a world where that's treated as an unrealistic fantasy for most women, he's shown me that I deserve something unrealistic. Second update 20 months later. We are out of debt. It feels so good to say that and have it be true, but as of 3 days ago, everything is finally paid off and we've made our way back onto solid ground. Almost 2 years ago, I made a post here about my 28F fiancé, 28M, wanting to split things 50-50, and my offer of compromising on lifestyle changes. As it turned out, he was off his meds and had managed to get himself into some serious debt, a little under $100,000, trying to provide a life that we could not afford on a combined $155,000 a year. Things were rough. I almost left him a few times. But we have finally made it through to the other side. I handle the finances. 100% of the finances. I give him a budget for buying coffee. It wasn't fun, but in exchange, he started doing more of the housework, so it evens out. We moved from our over-the-top apartment into a shared living situation, which, while not ideal, was leagues better than my initial plan of getting a trailer. We have roommates, but they're on another floor, so it's not too bad, and we have our own bathroom, which was my only real stipulation. We've lived like we're a $70,000 a year couple, doing actual 50-50 finances, and every extra penny he's made has gone directly to paying off the debt. We sold the cars, obviously. Traded them in for a nice used Ford Maverick and a Vespa. That helped a lot. There have been no more lavish vacations or over-the-top restaurants with $500 price tags. It was rough for my fiancé at first. He's always been very much a rich boy, and I think losing that as an identity was difficult for him. That being said, he's gotten so creative lately, it's been amazing to see. He will make me things if he can't buy me things, and we've started cooking together instead of having me do almost all of it. Our room is covered in the things he's made for me, and it's really lovely. We're still in love. We're still going strong. And we can finally start actually planning our wedding again. We're gonna get our own place first, but the wedding is next on the list after that. I'm so glad that we stuck with this, and being on the other side is the greatest feeling in the world. Thank you to everyone who offered advice. I don't know how things would have ended up if I hadn't had the courage of my convictions, and I'm genuinely grateful to those who directed me to Dave Ramsey and Caleb Hammer. Y'all are awesome. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Huge congratulations to you for taking on that emotional as well as financial load. I'm so happy that he proved to be a solid partner to you in good times and bad. I love that you lasted through the hard times and reading that you are still in love with him, and vice versa. That's beautiful to hear. I hope you have a fun wedding, 'cause you already have the marriage part down. Ops response. We're definitely going to have a fun wedding. We're gonna do a nice church ceremony and a murder mystery reception. It's not going to be a huge thing, about 70 guests total, but it should be really fun. Op on her relationship with his family. Oh, we don't get along, but we're civil because we all love my fiancé and we all want him to be happy. We will never do Sunday dinners as a family or anything, but they accept I'm good for him and have thanked me privately a few times for helping him out of debt.